And staying on the top story, the Israel-Iran tensions, Dr. Deepika Saraswat joins us from New Delhi. Dr. Saraswat is an associate fellow at the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defence Studies and Analyses. It's a state-funded think tank headquartered in India's capital, New Delhi. Dr. Saraswat, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, before that, if I just also brief viewers about her interests. It includes Iran's geopolitics in West Asia and Eurasia as well. Dr. Saraswat, what were Iran's objectives and did it achieve them?
Well, as you mentioned, that the attacks were a retaliation against the Israeli targeting of Quds Force commanders in Iran's the diplomatic enclave in Damascus. So the attack came 2 weeks after, the retaliatory attack came 2 weeks later. So clearly Iran's response was very restrained, and it was about establishing a balance of threat. It was about enforcing its red lines. It was about deterring further attacks like these directly against Iran. So I do imagine that it was intended to just cause minimal damage and to show Iran's deterrence, credible deterrence capabilities. So I think to that extent, Iranians are claiming that they have achieved their goals.
Now, Iran says that it had warned some countries at least 72 hours before attacking Israel. Why is that so, and is it required by international law?
Clearly, this is because Iran does not want to jeopardize the détente that it has been able to have with its Arab neighbors. So when the officials say that the neighbors, Iran's, Arab neighbors had been intimated about the impending attacks, it is clearly to let them know that Iran is not seeking to create a wider regional war or to destabilize the whole region as it is already on the brink of a war. So it was just to show that Iran is not looking to irresponsibly draw the whole region into further escalation. It is just about retaliating against what was seen as a breach of Iranian territorial integrity. It was Iranian sovereign soil in Damascus that was attacked by Israel. So it was supposed to be a limited, calculated response, and so was communicated to Iran's neighbors.
Another question I want to ask you, Dr. Saraswat, why did some Arab countries help Israel? I'm talking specifically about Jordan. Now, Jordan opened its airspace to US and Israeli military aircraft. Also, it shot down some Iranian projectiles that entered its airspace.
Right. So Jordan, as you know, is a treaty ally of the United States. It has a peace agreement or treaty with Israel, and so there is a long-standing defense cooperation between Jordan and the United States. So that's one aspect. Second, the fact that the Iranian projectiles flew over Jordanian airspace, so which sort of gives Jordan the legitimate right to ensure the safety of its own citizens, and that they can argue that rather than supporting defense of Israel, it was basically aimed at ensuring the safety of its own citizen and its own territorial integrity. So the both aspects, I think, are equally relevant, that it being a security ally of the United States and having a kind of a peace treaty with Israel. So that is the context in which Jordan has played this role.
Also, just a few days ago, US President Joe Biden had said that the US government's support to Israel is quote-unquote ironclad. But now the US says it will not join any Israeli response to Iran's missile attack. Why?
Right. So United States, of course, has stood behind Israel as far as the defense part is concerned, when following October 7 Hamas attacks. So that much is very evident that the Biden administration has, stood behind Israel completely, and despite all the international criticism. But we have to make a distinction that United States does not want to get drawn in a direct war. It is happy to stand behind Israel, support its military edge and all of that, but at the same time, it does not want to be involved in a direct war involving Iran and its allies. So hence we see that when the Israelis carried out their attack against Iranian consulate on 1st of April, very immediately we see that the American officials making statement that that United States was not informed in advance about the Israeli attacks. So basically making a distinction between what Israel had done and and the U.S. involvement in the same. The simple explanation is that that United States, having fought two unsuccessful wars in the region, I'm talking about Iraq and in Afghanistan, so clearly it does not want to get involved in a long-drawn war in any significant way. So.
Okay.
Despite the ironclad commitment, the distinction is that no, it is not part of any offensive, escalatory actions directly aimed at Iran.
Right. And finally, very quickly, Dr. Saraswat, what are India's stakes in the region? How would you compare India's ties with Israel and Iran?
For India, both the countries are very significant. Iran, of course, because of its very crucial geographical location along the Strait of Hormuz, and of course, neighboring Pakistan and Afghanistan. It is a very crucial player in the region, and India has, long-standing ties and understanding with the country, and there is a high-level diplomatic engagement that has continued despite U.S. pressure on Iran and everything. But same goes for Israel. I mean, it's a very crucial defense partner. Relations with Israel have significantly improved in recent decade. So of course, for India, both the countries are important, and it has no reason to get involved in the conflict between them. And it can always play, a role, a stabilizing role, to ensure that the region which is so geographically proximate to our own country is not getting further destabilized or get into a war.
Right, we leave it at that. Dr. Deepika Saraswat, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Right, let's now get you the latest on the world's